have a matchup of NBA heavyweights tonight, gentlemen, with Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics continuing their West Coast road trip that's been a little bit rocky, taking on Kevin Durant and the Suns. The Celtics, I think it's fair to say, Stephen A., they have been the most dominant team in basketball this season, really exemplified by their 11-game winning streak, the longest streak for any team this year. So everything, it was clicking for the guys in green. Since then, let's not call it a skid, but they've come back down to earth a little bit. They've lost their last two games against Cleveland on Tuesday, blowing a 22-point lead. But let's just chalk that up to Dean Wade just going nuts in that one. And then on Thursday, losing to the reigning champion Denver Nuggets. It's not the losses, though, that are overly concerning, at least in my opinion, but it is worth taking a little bit of a closer look at Tatum's numbers over the last week. He missed a pair of go-ahead shots in each loss, and clutch time, it's been an area that he's really struggled in over the last 3 seasons. So, Stephen A., I know you were championing Tatum as an MVP contender. Have his struggles recently changed your thoughts at all?
It has to. It has. I love the guy. He's the best player on the best team. I thought he was worthy of being at the top of the list for league MVP consideration. But when you go up against a reigning defending NBA champion on 2 occasions, you lose both games, and then you don't play your best basketball. In those moments, there are moments that define what a league MVP is going to be. And I'm just looking at some of these stats right here. Did y'all know that when it comes to clutch time shooting, the only person in the league worse than Jayson Tatum is Klay Thompson? Klay Thompson's at 29.8%. And I'm just looking at Jayson Tatum at 31.9% in terms of his clutch shooting. And I'm looking at 35% shooting from the field, 19% from three-point range over the last 3 years in clutch time situations. And I'm saying that's not what MVPs are made of. So he can make amends by winning a championship, winning an NBA Finals MVP, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of league MVP honors, I think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, and, of course, Jokic have to be considered ahead of him right now.
Well, how about even just taking over the game, late in the game? He came out in his postgame and he was talking about he don't want to be the one to hijack a car. I don't want to hear that energy, right? We're not getting that from SGA. We don't get that from Anthony Edwards or Devin Booker. Those are the players that Jayson Tatum is in the company of. And at some point, Joe Mazzulla has to draw a line in the sand and pick a side. When it comes to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, they paid him $300+ million. He's no scrub when it comes to being able to go score a basket on the elite level. Right now, he's shooting 50% in the clutch time on 32 shots. At some point, you got to say, you know what? If Jayson Tatum don't want it, and he's shown you time and time again of who he is, how about going to your other player, Jaylen Brown, and saying, you know what? I'm going to give you an opportunity.
I did think it was a little bit ironic that he said that, because he does lead the team in clutch time usage. He's at 32%, and the next closest player is Porzingis at 22%. So it's by a wide margin. So it was a little interesting he chose to say that, even though the numbers don't support that.
Yeah, but you say that because you're not getting it done. It becomes cover. And I want to go back to Perk. You have played with so many great players. How often does it happen that somebody's a late bloomer in that area? I mean, you usually see this. It becomes evident fairly early, doesn't it, Perk, by your second or third season? Jayson Tatum has been at this a while, and we're not seeing it. So I don't know that this is up to Joe. I don't think this is about coaxing it out of Tatum. I think it's about whether it's in him or not.
Well, I'll say this, a couple of things before I give it to Big Perk. Number one, 66.7% shooting from Porzingis in clutch time this season. So that's somebody that you can rely upon in those situations.
They got 2 somebody.
Jaylen Brown is somebody you can rely upon. If you're Mazzulla and the Boston Celtics, if you're Jayson Tatum, you don't want them to say, okay, come clutch time, we'll go away from you and we'll go to the other options. That's not a good look for him either.
We should mention no Porzingis today out with that hamstring tightness.
But it comes within you. It's nothing on Joe Mazzulla. It's, do you have that dog in you, right? That mentality. When you think about a young version of Rajon Rondo, like KG and them didn't have to pass the torch to him. He went and took it in some type of way. When I went to Oklahoma City and was playing with a young Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant and a James Harden, and I watched those guys take over in clutch moments when we went to the NBA Finals, multiple Western Conference Finals appearances, it was just in them. It was in them. Scotty Brooks didn't have to pull it out of them. I didn't have to put a key in their back. They just had it running through their veins.
Yeah, but in the same breath, we got to pay attention to this too as well. it's not about a lack of attempts. It ain't like he ain't trying.
That's my
the point is, you're not getting it done.
May not be able
and so
to,
now, if you're not getting it done, that's more glaring to me than somebody who doesn't work. If you don't want it, you ain't attempting it. Okay, you passing the ball to somebody else. And we've seen that in history. I won't mention any names because I'm in a good mood this Saturday night and I don't feel like getting anybody mad at me at this particular moment in time. But there have been plenty of people in NBA history we saw give up the ball like it's a game of hot piece and butter. I don't want any parts of this. That's not what we see from Tatum. We're just seeing a lack of efficiency.
Can I pose this to you, though, Stephen A? If you look at the idea, right, of giving Jaylen Brown more opportunities, it might seem like the alternative to clutch woes, but maybe opponents would welcome that because look at this. Over the last 3 seasons, when JB takes 25 or more shots, the Celtics are just 8-11, and that includes his 41.
That's a very valid point, Malika. I can't knock you for that, but damn it, we're going to get over that. You know why we're going to get over that? Because I paid you $304 million. So since I gave you $304 million, I'm going to look at that 8-11 record, and you know the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to take it and I'm going to throw it in your face. And I'm going to say, you need to be better than this 8-11 record because that $304 million is the number I'm looking at.
But you know
that's what I'm going to do.
You know, I like, you know what our grandmas would call that? Old-fashioned, hard-headed. That's what they would call it, right? When despite the evidence, you continue to run into that wall. But Stephen A, I'm teasing you.
Yeah.
Let me mention this. See, this is what gives me pause about the Celtics. Because there's one thing or another. Either you're right, you do get this done, or we go to Porzingis and Jaylen Brown, which evidence may point us in that direction. But maybe this is the flaw of the Celtics that they don't have an answer for.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA, I'm a ESPN.